I welcome all the participants for this AROHAN lecture series 12. And today we have Dr. S.L. Nadaf, Associate Professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering from Government Engineering College, Kalkal, from Bhopal district. And today he will be presenting a topic on research opportunities in biodiesel. So on behalf of all the officials of collegiate and technical education and all the principal and staff members and students, I welcome Dr. S.L. Nadaf for this lecture series. Now I request Nadaf to continue.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for the introduction, sir. Thank you. Good evening to all. Okay, let me myself, Dr. S.L. Nadaf, sir, as told, I am going to present the topic research opportunities in biodiesel. As we know, the era or there's a big boom happening in EV field as of now. EV field is in the boom. In parallel to this, the biofuel, which may be either bioethanol or biodiesel, either produced from the corn, cane sugar, and seeds of the plants. There's a big boom in these two fields. When we have a glance on the World Energy Outlook, the highlights of 2023 report by International Energy Agency, we have noticed that there's an increased vehicle population, that to diesel vehicles in India as well as in the world, and these transport sectors accounts for more than 1/3 of the consumption of crude oil. Out of the 100% demand of electricity or the power, around 70% is fulfilling by the fossil fuels, and then remaining either through the renewable or through nuclear or and then hydroelectric power plants. And these transport sectors which are consuming the fossil fuels are identified as the major sources that polluting the environment. As well, it has been noticed that the greenhouse gas emissions of these transportation sectors increased every year by more than 15 to 20%, and that accounts for the increase in the temperature of the global. That accounts for the increased entropy as cause the melting of the ice poles, what is the floods, as well as the demand of diesel as the growing vehicle population is increasing every year by 8%. And it has been noticed that in the last 5 years, this rise is more than 36%. And because of all these rising demand, there is a great opportunity for the renewable energy sources, because these fossil fuels are will not be there after some years, because after 2030, it has been remarked that up to 2030, there will be a peak demand of these fossil fuels. After that, there is a reduction in the demand of these. Based on that, there is a great opportunity for the renewable fuels that may include the natural renewable fuels like bioethanol and biodiesel. We call them as a biofuel. In race to replace these fossil fuels, there is a great demand for biodiesel as well as the bioethanol. So in all the way, the government sector as well as the citizens of the countries working towards the clean energy technologies, because they are going to be play a key role in energy transitions in future. And when we have a glance in the latest news, it has been noticed that along with the EV vehicles, many countries as well as in India, with collaboration or without, and all the industrial sectors are coming forward to place, means giving importance to the biodiesel and EV vehicles because of the scarcity and stringent emissions by fossil fuels. The latest India Times news, we've seen that the biodiesels as well as EVs are going to be the leading power sectors in the future. These are some of the biodiesels stations wherein these are already installed in many of the cities in India as well as outside the India. And is going to be follow the EN rules, the standards of the engines for both norms of Indian emissions, and without any modifications and without any blending limits. And I'm going to discuss more on energy scenario, then biodiesel, array of hope, and challenges that are there in use and production of biodiesels. And then case study means related to this work, my research work is there. I'm taking that in creating the biodiesel to help to use the higher blends of biodiesel in the engines with some little modifications. Conclusions and references. Okay, when you go to the energy scenario through Energy Outlook and World Energy Agencies, what they given is in India as well as in world, there's a fast growing energy producing is the fast growing sector, wherein it is increased by 36% in the last 5 years. As I told, there is a much gap happening between the demand and the supply. The demand is increasing like anything, but the supply to meet that, we have technologies, but the fossil fuels are not getting that. So we are in search of different renewable sources to meet that. And it is going to be a steep rising demand in every year. Till 2030, it is going to be a big, huge gap happen between the demand and the supply of electricity. When we talk about the biodiesel, it's a ray of hope, we can say. It's a vegetable oil. Once Rudolf Diesel, who has invented the diesel engines, has mentioned a statement that the vegetable oils that are they used at the first run of the engine, they told that at that time it is insignificant, but in a course of time, this is going to be rule all the power sector as well as the transportation sector. Since this biodiesel already proven, because from the last many years, many researchers working in the biodiesel field with different hybrid as well as mix, as well as individual biofuels, and then nowadays much higher level of research going on in order to maximize the efficiency of the engines and to get the maximum yield from the plants and process it. Like biodiesel is already proven as a effective vehicle fuel, and when it compared to the fossil fuels, it's a biodegradable and non-toxic and a clean fuel, which is a more healthier and friendly with the environment. And this also the enhanced production and utilization of biodiesel reduce the dependency and the imports from other countries, and the implementation leads to the cover the wasteland, because like some of the plants like Zetropa and Karanja, which can be cultivated at any areas which can cover the green land and support agriculture as well as the rural economy. And according to the National Renewable Energy Laboratories, it has been mentioned that even we can make use of pure 100% biodiesel without any mixing of that with the diesel, can reduce up to 52% of emissions than neat diesel. As well, the national policy on biodiesels proposed a target of 20% blending in the diesel by 2018, but it has not been happened. But somewhere in some of the cities, it is already there. However, with these all benefits, there are little challenges and opportunities associated with the biodiesels that I am going to explain the next. Right. These are some of the major problems that associated with the biodiesel. The first major one is the edible and non-edible. There's a big controversy between these two, edible and non-edible. When it comes to the biodiesel, the feedstock required for that is having three types. First one is we take it from the edible one, that we call it as a first generation feedstocks, first generation biodiesels. First generation feedstocks means from the edible one, like our groundnut is there, then other soya is there, like that. Then rice is there. We use that rice. Then corn is there. So these edible things are used to generate the biodiesel. Then it may have a negative impact on the food security. Like image I just showing the side. You can see that if there is a much feedstock utilized for the biofuel production in future, it may cause a negative impact on the food security. And second generation feedstock we have for the generation of the biodiesel is the non-edible things, non-edible seeds, like some waste oil or fried oils are also used, or waste fried oils are also used as a feedstock or the element to generate the biodiesels. These are the big controversy, and moreover the state and in national level, they are working towards the use of non-edible things for the generation of biodiesels. And then there is a less encouragement for non-edible oil production because of these reasons. And the bigger thing is the higher viscosity and limited blending ratio. The higher viscosities are the engines which are at now, the modern engines are very sensitive to the viscosities. If we have much higher viscosity, there are different problems of failure of the engine, clogging, choking will happen. And even the biodiesels have lesser heat quality, what we call it as a calorific value. If the viscosity reduced, there is chances, there is a possibility of there is increase in the heating value. And the blending ratio, there is a limited blending ratio. Many researchers suggested up to 20% in the neat diesel is possible to have better emissions with some compromise in the efficiencies or power rating. As well, there is a big non-attractive pricing is there. So the government has to make some proper pricing to the biodiesel, and with a lesser pricing, if it is there, then people will make use of that. Even in many of the cities, the tractors that are using the biodiesel, pure biodiesels are using for running the tractors. Okay, the same weakness are there of the biodiesel. It's a low energy content. It may cause clogging as well as failure of the filters in case of cold reasons. And the major is the viscosity is the major effect. The research is going on to reduce this viscosity. These are some of the major researches ongoing in the field of biodiesel, wherein some organic solvents are adding to the biodiesel to make to enhance their calorific values or heating values, and some hardcore methods to, or some devices to reduce the viscosity by preheating the biodiesel before admitting that into the engine cylinder. And then some of the nanoparticles are also adding to improve the evaporation, ignition properties, and give clean combustion products. And in the recent, as I told, the first generation edible oils, non-edible oil second generation, and the third generation feedstocks include the algae. This is the, as of now, the more focus is giving to the algae, because these can produce more than 30% higher yield than the other seeds that are used as the feedstock to produce the biodiesel. And these are easy to cultivate and process it. These are more better than the biodiesel produced by the first generation feedstocks and having lesser impact on the environmental. These are some of the algae where we using it to produce the biodiesels. These are the fields or the plants where algae is produced. It's easy to adapt. It requires lesser land and higher yield than the other seeds, and it not make any conflict between the food and the fuel. So this is the most sustainable feedstock for higher lipid content, because they have higher lipid content or oil content that leads to the greater yield to produce the biodiesel. Okay. In connection with this, there's a parallel support by the government is also there, because without the government, nothing happen here. The researchers are supported by the government to make amendments in making mandatory blending portions of ethanol is already there in the petrol, as well as some policies are making to make use, as well as some manufacturers like the huge manufacturer of vehicles like MAN, Volvo, DAF, Sanyo, like that, Mercedes-Benz. They are ready to use. They approved even pure biodiesel to be used in their vehicles in future. Okay, there are, as I told, there are 3 techniques in reducing the viscosity of the biodiesels, because viscosity is a major element. The first method is transesterification. Second is the blending of biodiesels with the neat diesel, and then third one is the free heating. In free heating, many researchers carried the free heating with various temperatures using the preheating element like the heater or heat exchangers. Heater means electricity is used. In here, some fluids are used, and then various researchers worked on different biodiesels or vegetable oils like zetropa, palm, coconut, neem, rice bran, like that. There are different fuels have been used and different free heating temperatures of the biodiesel with electricity or some heat exchangers have been used, and they found that the free heating really helps to improve the emissions, but we have to go with some compromise in the power ratings. Okay, this is the case study. Means this is actually a part of my research work where there's a free heating of biodiesel has been done. Here, the technologies and the components have been developed to recover the exhausted heat from the engine, because the engine emits more than 30% of the heat to the atmosphere and it is unused and left out to the atmosphere. That leads to the increase in the temperature of the environment or the rise the entropy. So this is the possibility that we can utilize that heat to preheat the biodiesel before admitting that biodiesel into the engine cylinder. Here the attempt has been made to ascribe the waste heat from the engine and the waste heat recovery device and utilization for the improvement in the fuel. And here we identified major critical parameters. We have 3 types of parameters of the heat exchangers. One is the geometrical parameters, then operational parameters, and physical parameters. All these parameters, different variables of these parameters have been chosen, and different modules of 36 modules of heat exchangers have been developed for the waste heat recovery and utilization, and the analysis is done to predict the performance of the heat exchangers as well the performance of the engine and the emission parameters, and predicted the or optimized heat exchanger has been decided. When we need to harvest the heat from the engine exhaust, these are the different devices or heat exchangers utilized. As I told, the exhaust, why it is used, because these are different sources of heat sources of the engine: exhaust, EGR, exhaust gas recirculation, coolant, and intercooler. Out of that, the quality in terms of quality and quantity and quality, the exhaust gas is the most suitable, and that has been used to preheat the biodiesels. And here in this particular work, the Pongamia biodiesel has been used. The Karanja or Pongamia biodiesel has been used in 50% and 100% blending with the diesel. And these are some of the technologies and the devices that can be used to recover the waste heat. But in this particular work, the last one, heat pipe heat exchangers, have been used. 36 models of heat exchangers with different variable metrics have been used to analyze the heat exchanger performance as well as the engine performance. This is one of the typical heat exchanger. You can see in the right side, we have one heat pipe. We use a bundle or a cluster of heat pipes in a heat exchanger. That is in the left side here. Each heat pipe consists of 3 parts or 3 sections. The top one is called as the condenser section or condensation section. The middle one is the adiabatic section, and the lower one is the evaporator section. And these heat pipe, they work as a superconductors of heat by boiling and condensation of the working fluid. The working fluid is initially filled, and the heat pipe is closed and evacuated by degasifying. Once the heat pipe is ready, such different numbers of heat pipes are or bundle of heat pipes have been placed in a container to make it as a more similar to a shell and tube heat exchanger. Here the heat transfer from one end to the another end, like the evaporator zone to the condenser zone, is by boiling and condensation. The working fluid inside the tube boils at evaporator zone and then it condenses at the condensation zone, as it is shown in this. You can see here. When the heat is added to the evaporator zone at the bottom, the bubbles will move up and they get condensed and again come back to the evaporator section by cooling fluid. Like this, the heat is transferred from one point to another point using this heat pipe. The idea of this heat pipe was when first invented by the Gowler in 1942. This is the most effective way of transporting heat by condensation and boiling and condensation. It is a two-phase closed thermosiphon. It's also called as a two-phase closed thermosiphon, and such heat pipes are with wick and as well as without wick. And in this work, we happen to do only the without wick heat pipes. And these heat pipes just require a difference or a gradient of temperature to transport the heat. Okay, see, such a heat pipe exchanger is employed or installed in an engine. Here you can see here, the exhaust of the engine is allowed to flow over the tubes in the evaporator section, and the fuel that is required to be free heat is sent through the condenser section, and the preheated fuel is again admitted to the engine cylinder during the suction stroke. This process will be continued. In the earlier slide, I shown one heat pipe. Like that, we used 4 pipes in the present work in the heat exchanger. These are some of the factors. As I told, we made 36 models of heat exchangers with different factors, geometrical, physical, and operational variables. Most of these parameters have been chosen in the current work. Again, when it comes to the operational parameters, we are having 2 different operational variables we taken is the rotated square pattern and square pattern, each having different effect on the performance of the heat exchanger as well as on the emissions. And in the right side here, heat pipe heat exchanger with section ratio, we taken 3 section ratio in 36 models. These are different variables chosen for 36 heat exchanger models with different variables. These are the fabricated heat pipe heat exchangers with the different notations we mentioned. Okay. Here the top one, it's a filling of the working fluid. Like we use the acetone and methanol as the working fluids, and distilled water as the working fluids we used in the heat pipes. You can see these are the steps used to complete the assembly of heat pipe heat exchanger. This is one of the heat exchanger produced. Like this, we made 36 models. It has been communicated to the engine exhaust. We can see here the engine exhaust is made to flow through the exhaust is made to flow over the tubes of the evaporator section of the heat pipe heat exchanger, and then the fuel that is required to be run the engine is heated by the heat exchanger. There are some other measurement elements, instrumentations to get the data of the engine. Okay, let me conclude this work. Outcome of this work is, the work is focused using different variables which have been identified and considered. The Pongamia diesel has been used to make a suitable replacement using the particular device, which is the acetone charged heat exchanger. Out of the distilled water and methanol, the acetone charged heat exchanger with the smaller aspect ratio and section ratio, means the larger diameter and evaporator length, has come out with a good agreement with what we expected. The analysis revealed acetone heat pipe heat exchangers have given good results. Further, the attempt made with finally after the blends of B50 and B100, the pure biodiesel has been found that not pure biodiesel, the pure oil, neat Pongamia oil also has been tested, but it found that it is not so suitable to use because its viscosity is so greater than the diesel, as well as it is not so suitable to the engines to make run. So that is not suitable. So B50 and B100 can be utilized with proper or the tailored heat exchanger. Finally, it is revealed that the correctly engineered heat pipe heat exchanger with particular parameters can recover the maximum heat and reduce the emissions with little power loss. Regarding the conclusion of this biodiesel opportunities, in order to sustain the scarcity of the fuel of today, the India as well as in the world, the attempts could be made to give maximum weightage to the biodiesels or renewable sources to generate electricity or power, and it should think of long-term sustainable approach and explore the biodiesel production, explore new feedstocks, and explore the technologies to adapt the 100% biodiesel in future. These are some of the references followed in the yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. This much I thought I.
Yeah, thank you, Madam.
Yes,
Any questions
sir.
from any question from the participants? Let me just find out.
Yes, sir, please.
Is there any questions? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think no questions. Thank you very much, Nada, for
Yes,
your
sir.
wonderful.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Biodiesel. And we have a next speaker, Dhruti HG. Dhruti, are you there? Dhruti? Sir, Satish sir. Satish sir? Yeah. Once again, Dhruti, there is one question from one of the participants for the previous speaker.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Please.
Satish, sir? Madam, I think you need to give the permission to him. Madhura, madam.
Yes, sir. I'll give, sir.
You're given?
Not yet, sir.
Hello?
Sir, I'll give.
Yeah. Satish, sir?
Yes, sir, I have given.
Sir, you can unmute and you can talk. Satish, sir. Okay, I think he is not
Okay, sir. Okay. No.
not responding. Okay, thank you, Nadav.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
We have next speaker, Dhruti, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah. 1 second. Just I'll introduce you.
Sir, shall I stop sharing, sir?
Yeah, you can stop sharing. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay.
One second. Yeah. It's always pleasure to introduce my student and student of Government SKJTI. Now she is a project quality manager, Dhruti HG. She is a seasoned project quality manager with nearly 7 years of experience in quality management and compliance. I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Currently at Intel, Dhruti develops and maintains quality benchmarks across various stages of product development, from demos and prototypes to full-scale production units. She has managed the quality compliance for diverse range of products, including embedded controllers, network modems, passive optic network, IPs, gateways, IoT, and edge platforms. Dhruti's expertise includes creating a comprehensive quality plans, governance checklists, legal and security governance, developing process documentation, deploying dashboards to track quality metrics. Dhruti is certified Intel Software Practices Assessor, and she has won multiple awards and honors at Intel for her quality expertise. She is recognized as a quality expert in Edge Platforms organization, and she has also trained and mentored quality engineers in her team. It's nice to know. And she holds Master of Technology in Information Technology from Harvard College of Engineering, where she achieved university third rank, and Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science and Engineering from Government SKJTI, affiliated to VTU, Belgaum. Apart from work, she is a novice Carnatic singer. She enjoys making mandala art, writing poems, and her musings in Kannada. Dhruti, it's very honored to welcome you on behalf of all the staff and students of this AROHAN series. It's a pleasure to welcome my student to this platform. Dhruti, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So, shall I share my screen? Is that okay? Okay. Just please let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, it's shared.
Yeah, thank you. So today my topic is Introduction to AI Governance. The whole world is talking about the boom in AI, especially after the revolution in AI brought about by the generative GPTs that we call generative pre-trained transformers, of the GPTs that came in, which use natural language to answer, chat, and give you suggestions, right? So that kind of pulled in the AI entire revolution in by 3 years, right? So every technology is both a boon and a bane. So AI has a huge potential to become a boon and equal potential to become a bane. So how do we make AI into more of a boon and less of a bane, right? That is where AI governance comes in, and it is one of the most critical fields of governance and compliance at this moment in the world, right? So today, my presentation is going to talk about AI governance. What are the boons and the banes of this? So let's start. I have few content that I want to go over, and I'll also talk about how we are doing responsible AI at my company, Intel. We'll go over that also. So let's very quickly delve into understanding what AI governance is, why do we need it, what are the challenges, and how ethics plays into the world of AI. And we'll also talk about laws, regulations, which is the EU AI Act, which is one of the first laws in the world ever to come to govern use, deployment, and development of AI systems. So let's start. AI governance, as I said, AI also has a potential to become a huge problem for people, right? So what we have is AI governance to reduce those harmful effects. So AI governance is a broad term that is used to put all of these policies, practices, best practices, all the legal frameworks and certain moral guidelines to ensure that an AI system is developed, deployed, and used in the correct way. That is what AI governance stands for. So why do we and there are also certain key aspects that we have to consider when we talk about AI governance. One is the ethical considerations. So for example, say one of the company HRs decided to use one AI tool to screen the resumes. So there are chances that actually deserving candidates might lose out, right? That's an ethical consideration. And also maybe giving, and also how your AI is used is another big ethical consideration. So I designed AI to do something as a developer, but ultimately the user is using it in a very different way. How do I develop a guardrail to ensure that it is used in the way it is intended? All of these things again come under the key aspects of AI governance: ethical consideration, regulatory, meaning legal and rules that we have to comply by, trust and transparency. How do I trust that the AI system is making the right decisions? How do I ensure that I transparently communicate to my user as to how this AI system is making decisions to ensure that they trust in me? Then every technology has a risk associated with it. You have to consider the risk that is associated with your AI system when you develop it. Then coming to model management, right? When it comes to model management, you are going to look at what tools you have used, how you have used those tools and libraries to develop your AI model, what you have used to test your AI model, what is your data set, comes under data governance, and performance monitoring. These are all performance monitoring typically means, is your AI model accurate? Is it discriminating something? Is it showing any bias? All of these fall under the performance monitoring. So these are all the key aspects of AI governance. When you talk about AI governance, these are all the things that you have to consider. Now we looked at what we have to consider and why we have AI governance. Actually, why do we need AI governance? What happens if there is no governance of your AI systems? Let's look into that. So first thing that happens, as I gave you the example of a hiring resume screening application, right? AI application. It could discriminate because you might have used the old data that was there in the company to train your model to select resumes. That's a that's a possibility, right? There is a bias or a discrimination. Maybe the AI, see, as people, we all have inherent biases because we are all our opinions are framed by our experiences and what we see around us and the way we have grown up. We never know, we might have certain set of biases. Sometimes these biases could also percolate into the AI systems that we develop. So this is a risk that we see: bias and discrimination. Privacy violation, that is something very huge. Have you ever noticed that you googled for something and the next day when you're opening Facebook or Instagram, you tend to see similar kind of ads? For example, today I googled to see some kind of clothing, and tomorrow on Instagram and Facebook I start to see the same data. Where is my privacy preserved? Right? These people are using that data to train their Instagram and Facebook backend models to show me the kind of ads that they think I would like, right? But my privacy in this case is violated. I want what I search to be private to me, correct? So this is one more huge concern. Then security threat. I don't know how many of you have watched this movie called Fast and Furious. In one of those movies, they hack into the autonomous driving cars and create a huge bottleneck for traffic because they want to divert the attention of the cops somewhere else, right? So this is a security threat which is possible. You have to protect your AI system. And also one more security threat that everybody in AI anticipates is the threat of data poisoning. So if my data is poisoned, if I feed wrong data into the training set of my AI system, obviously my results are going to be wrong, right? This is one. Then there is a lack of transparency and explainability in AI. I develop an AI algorithm. I never disclose it to the outside world. What steps is my AI algorithm using to make certain decisions? How is it making those required classifications, right? Autonomy and control. There has to be human control over it. If it's a self-learning AI system and there is a user feeding it unwanted data and percolating those biases, then that is gone. Your entire intent of building a fair AI system is gone. And there are, of course, ethical and moral concerns. One example that I would like to give you is I want to automate. I want to deploy an AI system to do some job, right? Is it going to get that person who was actually doing it before the AI model, is that person going to lose the job? These are all the things that we need to consider. Can that person be, retrained, upskilled, and reassigned to something else? These are the things that I need to consider, right? And then comes IP infringement, which is a huge thing. A lot of students now use AI, Chat GPT, and all of these bots to write their papers and their theses, right? We never know from where all it is bringing in. Even nowadays, developers use it. There are chances that you might be using someone else's IP controlled data that is available on the internet, say only for viewing. That could also be used. Nowadays, you use AI to generate images, videos, and all of these things. You never know from where AI is picking all of these um, input to build your image or to make your video. There is a high risk of IP infringement. So to protect your AI system from all of these risks, we need AI governance. So now we understood why we need AI governance. So implementing AI governance or setting up an AI governance framework has its own set of challenges. Let's delve into that challenges, and then we'll see how AI governance framework is prepared. So challenges. One is global coordination. The world is a global village. As we keep connecting, as the connectivity improves, we all come closer together as one world. Global coordination. There are multiple laws in different countries. There are multiple cultures in different countries. How do we create a framework that is internationally enforceable everywhere around the globe? That is the first challenge. The second is data privacy and security. Not all countries have laws for data protection and security. Europe has GDPR, which is very strict on how data is used and protected and how to discard it. All of these things are there, but in a lot of countries, such kind of data privacy and security laws are not there. Especially in our country, we hardly have any strong laws. Then there is bias and fairness issue. One is, as I said, there are a lot of culturally diverse people. Something that may seem very common to us Indians might not be something common to others. Maybe the way we address people, we have a lot of cultural differences in this world, right? So that bias and fairness, how do we make sure that this AI systems do not amplify those biases? And your AI governance framework should take into account all of these different cross-cultural themes, right? Then there are ethical considerations. Human rights laws are very different in different countries. So how do we bring that all together? How can you make your AI governance framework itself think like you, so that through that you can enforce your AI model to think like humans and value our moral systems, right? And accountability. Say I deploy a AI system, it does something harmful, then who is to be held accountable? Is it the AI system? Is it the developer? Is it the organization that gave it? Is it the people who didn't test it properly? Is it the review board who didn't consider all of these risks? Who? This question of accountability when it comes to AI is pretty huge. And then comes the mother of all problems, which is scalability. Everyone uses AI now. As a user, I use ChatGPT. Organizations build wrappers on the ChatGPT. So from an individual user to a huge corporate conglomerate, you need to have an AI governance framework that is applicable to everybody. That's one of the biggest problems when it comes to putting forward a AI governance framework. So now we understood what are the challenges. Now how do we bring up a AI governance framework? For that, we need to delve a little deeper into the heart of the AI governance, which is ethics. Ethics are a huge thing. So when it comes to ethics, ethics is fundamental to our AI governance system. Without ethics, there is no AI governance framework that can exist. And ethics has always, it should be considered right from the beginning to the end. That is, from the day you start designing your AI algorithm on paper to the day you maintain and finally you discard that AI model, right? So the first thing you do is ethics by design. Embed ethics into the design of your AI system. It is very hard to actually ensure and put these guardrails, and it gets even harder when you try to code ethics, right? You have to convert ethics into a code. It's very hard, but yes, we still have to do that. For that, we have to train people on it. We have to give ethics training. There are lot of ethics trainings available now, and there are multiple other kind of explainable AI and all of these algorithms and new technologies that are coming up to make your AI computation more and more traceable. And then you have to do a risk and impact assessment with respect to ethics. You cannot run away from it. You need to assess what will happen if my AI system is used in a way that is bad to the society, or that will cause harm to the user, right? That explainability, you have to explain how your AI is making decisions. These all again come under ethics in AI. And to oversee all of these, we have something called as an ethics committee, which does a review. Ethics committee is a committee that has a diverse set of people. There are technologists, there are philosophers, there are people, ethics specialists, there are legal people involved in this committee, and they go and look into how you are embedding your ethics into the design, how well you are training people, what is your risk and impact assessment, and how are you going to ensure explainability. So that is why ethics is at the core of AI governance. AI governance and ethics are always intertwined, right? And then how do you build a AI governance framework, right? You have organizational roles and responsibilities. The leadership has to define what are the roles and responsibilities, and they have to take and make that willing commitment that they will ensure that this AI system will be ethical. What is your operational model? Are you going to deploy it on a smaller scale? Is the scale huge? Then you have to look into what are your risks and what are the legal and regulatory compliances that you have to meet. What are the policies, procedures, and standards? What is the model governance? What are the tools and technologies that you're going to use, and how you're going to monitor it? You have to monitor your AI system. You have to audit it again and again. Otherwise, the entire intent of setting up a governance framework is lost if there is no continuous improvement and feedback loop. So that is why you need monitoring. So when setting up a AI governance framework, like the one you see on the left, you have to consider the 12 important guiding principles. Accountability, as I said, who is accountable for what? Roles and responsibilities have to be clearly called out. Your AI system has to be auditable. You should be able to inspect on the data set that you're using, on the model that you're using, the algorithms and how they are designed, all of these things. And explainability to the user and your stakeholders. You should be able to explain how your AI system is making the decisions, how these classifications are done, how are you categorizing it. All of these things are very important. Fairness. Fairness is you should ensure that your algorithm has very much less bias. You cannot be bias free at the moment, but yes, have you tested your algorithms properly? with the right set of testing tools and test data sets that are available. It should be robust. It's very important that your AI system should be able to perform as expected, even in adverse conditions. For example, I talked about data poisoning a bit earlier, right? So when someone is trying to poison the data and teach the AI to do something bad, your AI should be capable of recognizing it. That is what is called robustness. Then security. AI systems always have to be secure. And safety. You should ensure that however way the AI system is used, it should not cause any sort of harm. And there should always be transparency about the accuracy of your AI algorithm. And reproducibility. If I give my AI model a data set X and a set of environment variables and conditions, and I get an output, then that should be reproducible by someone else on their system with the same set of input that I have given. This will ensure that your AI system has that kind of integrity that is required for advancing the scientific research. Maybe that will also give you insights and input to ensure that you can fine tune your AI model. Human agency and oversight, very, very important. There should always be human override option, and human intervention should always be there in an AI system. Even though the AI system or the AI model is self-learning, there should always be some sort of human oversight. Privacy and data governance, very, very critical and very, very important. Then there should be inclusive growth, sustainable development, and well-being. Your AI system should always make sure that it is not harming the society or the environment in any way. Sustainability becomes very, very important, because to run your AI algorithms, you need huge amount of computing power, right? And the carbon footprint that you are producing when it comes to running AI workloads is pretty huge. So also you have to ensure that you're giving a optimal performance with less carbon footprint, and ensure that it is accessible to everybody and it is used for the well-being of the society rather than to cause harm. So you may have noticed that there are a lot of intertwining terms when it comes to AI. Yes, that is the speciality and the beauty of an AI governance framework, right? It feels redundant and repetitive, but at the same time, it is very critical also. So let's move ahead. We saw how an AI governance framework is. Let's move ahead and see the first ever legislation in the world that is going to come for AI. That is the EU AI Act, European Union AI Act. Very, very critical, very important. And this is the case study that is being used in a lot of organizations across the world and institutions also, and academia, to ensure that there is a robust governance framework available for people to build on, right? So let's move ahead to EU AI Act. By the way, this EU AI Act is still not enforced. It is going to come only by 2026. Now there is a lot of talk about EU AI Act because of the boom of ChatGPT. ChatGPT, according to the market analysis, the AI boom was expected sometime around 2025 and 2026. But ChatGPT coming up kind of pulled in that entire thing from 3 years, right? So still the EU AI Act is going to come by 2026. It is one of the first ever act, and this is nowhere ever in the world do we have any legislation to regulate AI. So EU AI Act is going to be the first one, and this is, as I said, AI governance frameworks entire goal is to ensure that there is a balance in the innovation and the ethical considerations to ensure that no harm is caused by your AI product, right? So that is what is the main aim of the EU AI Act. And EU AI Act always, as I said, risk and impact assessment is very critical, right? So EU AI Act also is based on risk classification. You classify your product, AI product, into four levels of risk: unacceptable, high, limited, and minimal risk. Unacceptable means there could be social scoring systems and all of these things. Those are banned. They are considered unacceptable risk, and they are prohibited from even starting. You cannot even start to develop that kind of a system. That is banned, and that can lead to huge penalties in crores of rupees. If I tell it in Indian terms, crores of rupees. If you end up being caught creating an unacceptable risk AI product, then you have high risk, like medical diagnosis, legal advice, credit scores, all of these. So for that, you will have to do some data control, risk assessment. You should have multiple audits happening, and there should always be human oversight. Then there are limited risks, like your chatbots, the ads that you display, personalized ads that I mentioned about, right? So those are considered limited risk, ensuring that you comply by the required data protection acts. So transparency and disclosure is a mandatory requirement in such a situation. You have to disclose how your AI system is making these, giving you these ad leads, right? How you're displaying these to the customer, based on what, how you're analyzing the data, how you're using it. All of these has to be part of your disclosure requirements. Then we have something called as a minimal risk. That is your spell check, the spam filters you use in your emails. These are considered as minimal risk because these typically don't cause harm to the society, right? So this is self-regulation. You have certain best practices and certain rules that you need to follow, that you follow voluntarily to ensure that you have a proper ethical AI system, right? And then there are prohibited practices. Then as I mentioned, transparency, obligations, compliance and enforcement. Compliance and enforcement is where you have all of these data control, risk assessment, and enforcement is if you miss, then you're going to be penalized very, very heavily. And human oversight is very, very important. As I mentioned, data privacy and protection, innovation and support. They still support some amount of innovation, and they will probably help you to get in touch with experts if you need help. That is AI Act in a nutshell. Then, as at Intel as a company, I don't know if you have heard the news. Intel is coming up with the first ever AI workload optimized PC, a chip called as Lunar Lake. So AI has been there in our company from a very, very long time, and we abide by something called as responsible AI to ensure that our AI systems are all ethical and they help people, and we reduce the risks and optimize the benefits for our society. You can also Google responsible AI at Intel, and it will take you to a page where we have all of these details and a handbook also available if you want to have a look at it. So we have 7 principles and we have 4 pillars. 4 pillars are: we ensure that there is governance, we ensure that we are auditable. All our AI systems are auditable both internally and externally. We research and collaborate with institutions, industries, and academia. And the most important thing is we have products and solutions to make sure that your AI is computationally traceable. We give you a lot of products and solutions in the open source available, given out by Intel, which you can use to test for fairness, bias, discrimination, and all of these things to ensure that, and to make your AI more explainable. Inclusive AI for equality, inclusion, and cultural sensitivity. As I said, you can test for bias, discrimination, be culturally more sensitive to people. So inclusive AI. And the principles that we abide by, you can always go back and map these to the 12 guiding principles in the AI governance framework that I talked about just a few minutes ago, right? Respect human rights, ensure that nobody is harmed. Human oversight, as I said, very, very important that a human override and a human control is allowed in an AI system. Transparency, explainability. There is a new field in AI coming up called as XAI, or explainable AI, which is where you help your users by embedding certain code or certain algorithms inside your AI model to help explain to the user how your AI is making decisions. This is called XAI. There are multiple 3 or 4 algorithms available for that, and you can go and explore them. Security, safety, reliability, extremely important. Design for privacy, promote equity and inclusion, and of course protect the environment. So as I said, we have a new processor coming up. It has something called as an NPU, or a neural processing unit, which uses power very effectively and reduces the carbon footprint. So we have that coming up sometime, I think in the early September, we have the product launch coming up. You might have seen that on LinkedIn too. So yes, this is what we do. And to summarize everything, we have an ethics review board which oversees all of these things to ensure that every developer or every evaluator or every user of AI inside the company is making sure that they adhere to all of these rules and regulations. So we have a ethics review board, very, very important, as I mentioned. It contains various different experts. You can also listen to a talk on YouTube by our Chief AI Ethics Architect, Ria Cheru, and I can share the link if it's required. So my last and final conclusion, some food for thought. I know there are students, there are teachers who are teaching AI. Students who are learning AI and teachers who are teaching that. So this is some food for thought for all of you to think about. So is my data set bias free is the first question that you need to ask, because you need to train your AI system, right? You need to give it some data. So is that data set bias free? And whatever data set I've picked, is it violating any privacy or data protection laws? Can I explain how my AI system is making decisions to my users? Try explaining it to your friend or someone who does not have much knowledge about how AI works. How can you explain it to them? Try this out as a tip. Is there any inherent discrimination that I have put into my AI system? Is my AI, if you're working in an organization, if you have an ethics board available, has this been reviewed by them? And very important thing, if I disclose what technologies and algorithms, using that disclosure, how can I build the trust with my users to trust my AI system more? And is there any law that I am violating using my AI systems? These are some serious food for thought that you need to think about when you are developing, deploying, or using an AI system. Very, very important. And one humble request, as I see there are a lot of teachers here available. So all of you professors, you would be part of the board of studies and all of these things. So please make sure that there is at least a chapter on AI governance, because it's very important, to turn AI into a boon and not a bane in the world. So please, if such a chapter is not there, please try to include it in your upcoming syllabus revisions. If it's already there, then that's the best thing. So that's all my presentation. Any questions for me?
Any questions from audience? Yeah, Rajkumar B has raised the hand. Madam, please allow him to speak, ask question. Rajkumar B. Madam?
Madam, one small question, madam.
Yeah.
Madam, I'm Rajkumar V from Bagepalli. One small question, madam.
Yes.
Madam, what is the exact future of AI, madam? Is it something for a beginner? If I am learning AI now, start learning AI now, do I have a future in the future course, madam?
Definitely yes. Definitely yes. AI is the next big thing that is happening in the world. All industry leaders are chasing behind AI now. So AI is boom. And if you are learning now, then you're not late. I would say if you want to learn, do definitely try out. And there are a lot of open source material available for you. which you can use. There are open source sandbox, which you can use to play around. And there are a lot of courses coming up which say, no code AI. If you're not interested in coding, no code AI, as to how you can use AI. AI is now big thing in project management too, right? So yeah, you're not late. There is a
Madam,
big
one thing is, one thing, madam. Will not AI will consume the jobs of other AIs, madam?
Sorry?
Artificial intelligence, if it can create its own artificial program or programs or something like that, will it not hamper the jobs of other this thing AI?
That is where AI governance comes in terms, right? You have to consider the ethical considerations also. If you're losing jobs, then that's not a great thing. So companies have to find some balance. Either they have to reskill those employees to do something. That's the ethical responsibility for the people who are going to use AI, if it's going to eliminate a few jobs. That's a huge scare that is there. But yeah, if you upskill yourself into something good, then definitely there's a big future.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Sir, Rangsami sir. Madam, just allow Professor Rangsami to speak. Ask question.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir,
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yeah, Professor.
Yeah. Nice presentation, madam. I have only one clarification. Will it be able to implement the AI to office automation?
Office automation is already there, sir. We are already using it in our offices. We use it even for preparing our test suits and, deciding which test case to run, which not to run. Yes, we're already using it in a lot of things. Office automation, yes, is a huge scope in AI.
That's okay. But coming to our academic institutions like our colleges, right? So, will it be flexible to implement environment of academic institutions like us? Is it possible or?
Yes, sir, definitely. There are a lot of things that I have seen being done. It could be scoring, preparing internal assessments, guiding, assigning projects.
Exactly.
All of these things can happen via AI. But just one thing to remember is make sure that there is some sort of human oversight over it, because we don't want, talented students to lose out on certain things, right? So that's a balance that we have to strike.
Yes. Anyway, thank you. Nice presentation. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. If no more questions, then I would like to thank Basavaraju sir for this opportunity and the Department of Technical Education. Thank you very much. And my entire quality team in my office, my managers Kumud Singh and Shishadri, and all my other teammates. Any questions, I'm still here. You can contact me. I can leave my email. Yeah.
There is some question. It has been raised in this text box. Like EIA Act, is there any AI Governance Act enforced in India?
No, sir. There is no such act. Even cyber security ke kuda nam country alli hardly any rule is there. Cyber forensics off late. Neevu Bharatiya Nyaya Samhitano Act tandaga digital evidences is admissible in the court anta heltidare. So now tumbane hinde idivi. We have to speed up. We have to train our legal people to come up to speed.
Okay, good. And Krishnananda is there. Krishnananda can ask questions. Madam, please allow him to ask questions. Krishnananda.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, madam. It was a very good presentation on AI. Just to have one or two questions about that, ma'am. Especially as sir said, in academic environments, especially students, including their project assignments and other things, using Chat GPT for everything and all other things. So it is little, as you said, and there is no act or anything to legalize or govern these things. So it is difficult for us to even monitoring these assignments and other project works what students are doing with AI, because a lot of help they are getting automatically without even knowing the things. So how do we address it, ma'am?
One thing you can do is there are a lot of tools available which can check whether a person has used. ಅಂದ್ರೆ plagiarism check ತರ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Chat GPT use ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ there are lot of tools that we use, because recently I wanted to present a paper and I had to go through that. My paper had to go through that check. There are open source tools there which you can use. They're all under GNU license, so you don't have to pay anything. So you can definitely make use of those tools. ಅವರು AI ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದಾರ, ಪ್ಲೆಗರಿಸಮ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ thesis ಗೆಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ತರ similar you have tools available, so you can check that using ChatGPT. Because I know recently my brother submitted his thesis and we ran it through to ensure that there was it can detect certain things. Maybe 100% detect ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ChatGPT is now very good at mimicking the way we write
Yes.
things, alva. So
Ma'am,
yeah,
that
there
one
is always
part.
that.
That is one part, ma'am. Other part is like no, the students are losing creativity and doing some things on their own because of all this help they are getting. So like,
Correct.
other part of this sad thing is that one where we are not able to, even if we motivate students to do something on their own and try to get the best out of them, now they are like too lazy to utilize their own brain to do the things. That's another issue we are facing.
That happens, sir. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು AI is both a boon and a bane ಅಂತ. So that is what is happening. I read a quote somewhere on LinkedIn which said, I don't want AI to, do paintings, write code. No, I want AI to automate things that I regularly do. ಹೋಗಿ laundry ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರೋದು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ AI will be more useful ಅಂತ. Maybe that is also a direction we all need to think.
Yeah. Especially academic point of view, there will be a lot of challenges, ma'am, compared to.
Yes, definitely, yes.
Because we don't have the access to many of the tools also, and majority of the students nowadays will be automatically getting all the help from even their friends and other things. So little challenging for us even to do something very special in this area. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. If no more questions, then yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you very much, sir. Basavaraju sir, thank you so much. This is my first external talk outside my company, so thank you very much for this opportunity, sir.
Dhruti, it was really a wonderful talk and it was very, very informative. And it's always a proud for a teacher seeing a student giving a wonderful talk to the audience of mine. And always I think it's very, very more useful for all the participants here, and I could able to make out from the interactions. And on behalf of all the officials and the principals and professors and all the teaching staff, I thank you sincerely from the bottom of the heart. And you are mentioning that this is the first talk in your
Yes, sir.
career. In future, I think I wish you'll give very, very high level, high profile talks in future in different avenues. And
Thank you, sir.
definitely it will be a proud moment for us to claim that you are my student.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. And we have next speaker, Mr. Anil Kumar Saukar from Government Engineering College, Raichur. Anil Kumar, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Yeah, you can take over the session now. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Good evening, sir. This is Anil Kumar, Department of Civil Engineering, Government Engineering College, Raichur. Today, I'm going to discuss or presenting the presentation on some of the new construction materials in the construction industry. Especially the main important is MIVAN, which is a versatile aluminum formwork construction techniques. See, what is the formwork? Formwork is a temporary structure, sir. Usually a temporary. It is used to contain poured concrete and mold it to the required dimensions and support it until it is able to support itself. Before going to pour the concrete, you are making the temporary structure by using the conventionally you are doing wooden bullies or the plywood materials you are using, and there is a chances of failure of the formwork while doing the concreting. Lot of accidentals will occur, and you are not able to construct the construction work within the specified time period. So here there is a one construction technology used. It is a MIVAN formwork. This is a MIVAN formwork is the company where they are producing the aluminum panels or the aluminum entire construction, entire building is developed by the aluminum panels. So MIVAN formwork is a fast-paced construction techniques which offers strength and durability to a building by use of the aluminum formworks. See, in most of the construction industry issues are the speed of the construction. So most of the construction work is going to be delaying due to the there is no advancement in the technology. See the quality of the construction. So poor quality of the work, undulations of the quality control, and the honeycombs are there, failure of the formworks, and the design aspects, and efficiency also is more. And this type of the my1 formwork, when you use it in the long term, it is a very cost effective materials. There's safety is very, very important in the construction industry, sir. When you heard in the lot of newspapers every day, somewhere there is a failure of formwork while doing the concreting. Failure of formwork causes the death of the laborers. So to overcome all this, an environmental friendly, it's environmental friendly because we are not going to using any kind of the wooden bellies or the plywoods or wooden materials. Here entirely the formwork is in the aluminum panels. It is reusable and it is environmental friendly. So my1, it is a brand name from the East Malaysia. This is the company where they are manufacturing this formwork. It is an aluminum alloy formworks. The system of aluminum forms has been widely used nowadays in India as well as in Bangalore. All of the high-rise buildings, more than 10 plus floor buildings, they are completely shifted to the aluminum formworks from last 10 years. What you said, it is very simple and is adaptable. It is very cost effective. It totally provides the quality work, sir. So it requires the less maintenance, and durability is also very good when after the demolding the formworks. This system is most suitable in Indian conditions where the non-skilled laborers were available more, skilled laborers are less is required. Aluminum forms is comparatively a new technology in India. So nowadays they are using, and now all the residential buildings and high-rise, especially in the high-rise buildings, this my1 formwork is very, very suitable and it is shifted to the new construction techniques, sir. So why we have to use the formwork, and what is the use of this my1 formwork, where we have to use and when it is used? See, this type of the formwork is available where it is a mass housing process are required. Mass housing means within a specified time, within the less time, you have to use the housing. More number of construction house were required, and more number of repetitions are where it is required. And this is one of the floors is typical floors. So how the ground floor is there, second floor, third floor, up to 32 floor, we'll have the same typical floors where it is required. In that cases, this my1 shuttering formwork is very, very, very suitable, and it is a construction is very, very fast construction where it is required, and high quality where it is required. It is the columnless structure. It is very important, sir. Conventional buildings, what we are doing is first you are casting the columns, again you are casting the beams and casting the slabs. So it took 21 to 28 days to complete the one process of the one floors. Now it is the my1 formwork is using your the total work floor is 7 days, sir. So where you are not using any columns, the only the shear wall is there. Completely it is a concrete structure. It is a homogeneous monolithic concrete structure where columns is not there, sir. That is a shear wall is there, beam is there, and slab. So for this is a monolithic structure. This is a columnless structure, and it is highly suitable to load bearing structure because of it is a shear wall. See, this is the simple formwork assembly. It is very, very simple. This is using the aluminum panels with using the pin and wedge systems. All are the panels, aluminum panels. Okay, sir. This is external corners, internal soffit corners, deck panels. This is having the wall panels, wall ties, and the soft strength. The panels are held by the simple pin and wedge systems. You are not using any wooden bellies or the wooden materials or the plywood materials where you can using the nails, binding wire. You are using. So for using that type of the conventional formal structure, we are facing a lot of leakages problems will come, and the segregation and bleeding of the concrete will come, sir. Here it is 100% waterproof and it is no leakages, sir. It is aluminum panels where you can use efficiently, sir. So this is not this is the panels fitted assembled work where you are using the techniques, sir. See, this is the diagram where you can see how the placement of aluminum sheeting or the aluminum formwork they are using. So these are the entire, it is the aluminum panels. It is assembled in the site. This is manufactured by the aluminum panels or aluminum shuttering materials. So this is the where you are using the walls. The thickness of the walls is varies according to your architectural design and drawings, how your rooms are required, how your the plan section and elevation is required. According to that, they will give you the all this my one form of shuttering materials in the site. You can assemble all those materials according to this design and drawing. The thickness of the walls are varies from 120 mm to 150 mm up to 200 mm. The height of the floors is varies up to 3 meters. So this is the assembling of the formwork in the site. See, this is the placement of formwork. See, these are the aluminum panels, the wall as well as the slab and the staircase. Yeah, whatever the building, how your design is there. According to the design, they will modify the materials. They will give the. It is all the factory made aluminum panels. We are pouring the concrete at a time. That is the wall concreting, slab concreting, beam concreting, as well as this staircase concrete is done at a time, sir. There is no brickwork masonry or the RCC block masonry or plastering. This reduces the construction days. The speed of the construction is very, very important in the construction industry. By using this type of formwork, the construction cycle of this becomes 7 days. In the conventional, it is the 21 days. So this is the my one formwork aluminum panels modified construction technology, sir. See, after everything, you are going to pouring the concrete. See here, wall concrete and the beam concrete as well as the slab concreting is doing at a time. There is no any brick masonry or the RCC masonry. The entire structure is a monolithic structure. We are going to casting in a single day. The next day, the vertical props can be removed and it is ready for the single floor with 7 days instead of the 21 days. So after removing concreting, so these are the finishing it is available. This type of the formwork by using the smooth finishing will be available without any cracks or the shrinkage cracks or the honeycombs and the smooth finished structures, and the verticality is very, very important. There is no undulations in the walls, so the very smooth surface will come, sir. So these are the my one formwork is very, very useful where we require the high-rise buildings and similar structures. This my one formwork can be reused 250 to 300 times. The my one formwork is the ground floor is how is there. The similar structure will become first floor, second floor, third floor, up to the 30th floor. We can shift it. The drawing shows clearly how the formwork can be used, and it is made, and the concrete is pouring. This is the shows the build, which are the components of the MY1 is mainly aluminum panels. That aluminum panels is having 4 mm or thick plate and 6 mm thick ribbing. This it weighs around 15 to 20 kgs per square meters. See, these are the components. These are the beam components. This is the prop head, beam side panels, beam soffit bulkhead, beam soffit panels. So these are assembled by using the pin and wedge systems to have the required size and shape of your architecture plan and design drawings. This is the deck components means it is a slab concreting, slab deck panels. How this deck panel is supported by the prop length. This is the deck props, soffit length, and deck mid beams. The other components like the corners. So exactly a corner is very, very important. There is no should be leakages in the corners. The corner should be correctly exactly in 90-degree angles. So the external corners, soffit and internal soffit plays very, very vital role to maintaining the verticality and the corners edges. These are the wall panels. The wall panels are supported by the kicker and the rockers. These are the used. These are available with the so many sizes. It is more by 2 meter by 1.6 meter or the up to 3 meters. This is depending upon again the size of the room plan, architecture plan, they will make, this is a factory made, or it is a tailored made aluminum panels. It is available, sir. These are the pin and wedge systems where you can join the one panel to another panels. Okay, so from the slab, beam, and wall panels can be joined by using pin and stubs. These are pin and wedge systems where we can have a 100% waterproof and leakages will get by using this My1 shuttering technologies. See, in the site, it's very important to manage the production line. And this is the 100% 100% quality control can be happened in the site by using this design and development what they are done in the My1 factory production of the shuttering materials. See, the total entire the conventional shuttering work or the form work takes minimum of 21 days. Okay, first we have to cast the columns, then removing the shuttering, removing the formwork of the columns, then you have to go for the beam formwork. Again, you have to remove it, and again you have to go to the slab concreting. There's a formwork. It takes 21 days for each floor. So because of this delay in the construction, and it is not feasible. It is not feasible for the high-rise buildings where the so many accidents will occur. So within the because it is available a factory-made tailored vertical all the aluminum formers is available. You have to just assemble in the site how you according to your site layout and the plan. So in the first day, the first activity consists of the erection of the vertical and reinforcement bars, because you are not using any brick masonry or the RCC blocks masonry and the plastering. So here the entire wall is a concrete wall. So entire wall is a concrete wall means it is a shear wall. We have to use the reinforcement. The first day we are going to using all the reinforcement, and the one side of the vertical form is erected. In the second day, the second activity involves the erection of the second side of the vertical, that is inside of the vertical formwork and the formwork for all the floors. Fixing reinforcement bars for the floors, slabs, and casting of walls and the slabs. And day 4, removing of the vertical form panels. Next day we can remove the vertical formwork and leaving the props where the horizontal is there. That requires the strength up to the 7 days. Up to the 7 days, the concrete will gain the strength more than 60%, and the form slab it plays for the 2.5 days. So this is the entire work day. Total formwork can be completed only in the 4 days. So only in the 4 days we can complete all the floors of formwork by using this type of the ready-made, tailored factory-made aluminum formwork, and accidental free, environmental friendly, and this very speed of the construction increases, economical, and the durability and the quality of the work can be achieved by using this construction techniques. This is My1 formwork techniques. As I told, de-shuttering of the panels will take around 12 to 15 hours. Positioning of the brackets from platforms on the floors 10 to 15 hours. De-shuttering panels lifted and fixed on the floors immediately to the 7 to 10 hours. Kickers and external shutters fixed on 7 hours. Shutters are erected in 6 to 8 hours. Reinforcement can be done in 1 day. Electrical fittings and whatever the concealed work is there on the wall, you can make it in 1 day. And finally, we are going to pouring the concretes. See, what is the difference between the aluminum former system and the conventional former system? In the first is speed of the construction. The delay in the construction project is a very major setback for all the construction industries and the builders. The construction work has the speed of the should be increased. So aluminum formwork, we are using the 4-day cycle per floor. It is for the conventional formwork. To make a formwork, it takes more than 10 days. The quality of the surface finish, it is very excellent in the aluminum formwork. It is entirely a concrete wall, so it doesn't require the plastering. But here, the formwork, we have to construct a block masonry or the brick masonry. Again, you are going to doing the plastering. Plastering is necessary. Here, the plastering doesn't require. So here, type of construction means it is in situ cellular construction materials. It is a simple RCC framed constructions. The weightage of formwork, material accuracy is very less in great amount. accuracy in construction is very, very accurate. It is there is a chances of the less than aluminum formwork, and due to this framed structure, entirely a concrete structure, including the walls, beam, and slabs, it is very, very earthquake resistance building, where it is normally it is less than aluminum formwork. It is the usage value, that is a usage value. Once you are taken once you purchase the aluminum formworks, you can reuse it up to the 250 to 300 times. But when you going to the conventional formwork, that is a wooden bellies or the by using the plywood formwork and all, you can use maximum 20, 30 or 50 times. After that, it will be deteriorated. You will not get to the accurate line, verticality, and bulging will happen, and the leakage will happen. Then the concrete durability will be affected, and the strength of the concrete you will not get it in the conventional formwork. See, we have two types of the buildings, the design aspect. First one is the movement resisting framed structures and the load bearing walls and the slabs. So here, in case of RC movement, resisting framed structures we are using here. Due to this, the horizontal force due to wind or earthquake are restricted by the frames. This is the my one formwork will be a earthquake resistance building. Wherein the load bearing walls, you have in the loads, monolithic casting of the slab along with the horse wells result in the box type structures, which is very strong in resisting horizontal force due to wind and earthquakes. So my one structure is acting as the moment resisting frame structure as well as the load bearing walls and slab. Due to this, you will get the it is having the resistance of the horizontal force due to wind on the earthquake. It is a earthquake proof buildings. Quality of what are the quality advantages of the using this my one formwork? So is my one formwork is special designed to allow the rapid construction of all the architectural layouts, where we can require the mass construction. Okay, so within the specified time period, you have to construct more number of homes, more number of the floors. Then this my one formwork is effectively utilized. Sir. The total system forms the completed with the total. It is a concrete structure. We are not at all using any brickwork or the RCC. Cement concrete blocks, plastering and everything. Everything is the concrete made structures, and it is the custom design to suit the project requirement according to your plan, section and elevations, architectural design and drawings. Once you produce it, they will give the tailor-made all the materials. It is the designed, pre-designed itself before going to construction. After design and everything, then the materials will come to the site. Then you can use the project requirements as per. Surpassed the construction speed. Already I told the construction speed is very, very high when it comes to the comparing with the normal formwork or shading works. High quality finish, exactly high quality finishing available, cost effective. Panels can be reused up to the 250 times, and while erecting using unskilled labors are required, but in the conventional times more number of labors were required, and more numbers of metals are required, and there is a chances of accidents, and there is where here it is due to the aluminum panels, there is no chances of the accidental occurs in the construction site due to this pin and wedge systems. It is it's like a temporary 100% rigid structure. Sir. It is very easy to handle. So aluminum, that does not rust like the steel. Therefore, the aluminum formwork can be reused 100 of times. So when you purchased a tailor-made aluminum formwork in the sunset, you can use more than 200, 250 sites. That saves the money. It's very economical. When you use more than 250 to 300 times, you can use it. But the wood or the plywood is made formworks, you cannot able to use or 10 or 15 times more. Okay, so after it is deteriorating conditions will come. Formwork is made with an aluminum alloy which is very high tensile strength. Due to high tensile strength, you can withstand the load up to the 10 to 15 Newton per mm square. Load can be taken by the within the 36 hours. Okay, sir. And saving on the whole expenses due to speedy construction is very, very important. All the construction industry or the builders, they are facing a lot of problems in the speed of the construction. The construction is delaying. Why it is the construction delaying means how much work delay is there, that whole expenses will going on increases. At the end, they cannot get the profit. So to increase the speed, this my one formwork is very, very important. terms. It does not require timber or a plywood for the construction activity. So it saves the environment because aluminum is 100%. It is a reusable materials after the 250 300 times reusables. And another casting of walls and slab possible. It is a simultaneously. It does not require skilled labors. Higher scrap value will come after the reuse of 250 times. Carpet area will increases because the thickness of the wall is restricted only the 120 mm or the maximum is 150 mm, and collecting the best premium from the customer because 100% RCC building. And we have some limitations also in the formwork, sir. What are those limitations? Because a small size finishing lines are seen on the concrete surfaces. Yes, because a joint will be happen from panel to panel and panel to panel by using this wedge and pin systems, where there is a panel to panel finishing line there will be some concrete lining will come, and we have some problem. There is a concealed services become difficult. Concealed means electrical panels you have to do, and some of the plumbing lines you have to do inside the walls, where that in cases you can possibly to increase the thickness of the wall. That is the one of the drawback. And it requires uniform planning as well as uniform elevations to be cost effective. Sir, we cannot change ground floor planning how it is. The same thing it is a second floor, third floor up to the completion of the project. You cannot able to modify the floor plans. You cannot able to demolish the walls after the casting. It is the similar structure will come. Modifications are not at all possible in all the members as cost in RCC. Large volume of work is necessary to be cost effective because you are going to using the 200 repetitions of the form should be possible at the work. Architectural changes is not possible on the structure. Due to tremendous speed of construction, working capital finance needs to be planned in advance. A number of holes will be more in the vertical wall. Outer wall, which is in direct contact with the rain, holes should be grouted by non-stick compounds. You have to spend extra amount for the to contact wherever the pin and wedge systems there we can find some of the holes that you can close the holes by using the grouting techniques. Due to the box type of the construction, shrinkage cracks may be appear. There will be chances of, and due to this entire it is a shear wall, entire it is a concrete structure and a concrete wall. It happens that due to the heat of hydration will be more. So this is the one of the drawback. Heat of hydration you will be going on ridges at the edge of the concretes lead ridges. The last one, it is a conclusion is what it is a very good advancement in the construction field, sir, which is very useful for the mass housing with a little advantage, where we required the mass housing projects rather than the conventional formwork using the more number of labors, taking the more days. Which if you want a specified time within the 7 days of the one floors, very finishing, good finishing, then you can go for this my one construction techniques. Already in the Bangalore, all are the builders are shifted to the my one shifting formula. If you see in Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, anywhere in India, the 30 plus floors of the buildings can be constructed by using only this type of the my one formwork. Almost all they are shifted to the my one formwork shuttering, where high-rise buildings accidental is becomes more. Now you are using this. Their accidentals are very, very less reduced, and speed of the construction is also very increased, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any questions from audience? Just hello.
Hello.
Any questions from audience? Any questions from audience? I think they don't have any questions. Thank you, Anil Saukar, for your.
Sir, thank you, DJ Busra, sir, giving me an opportunity to present my slides, and sir, and thanks to the DD sir, giving me an opportunity to present, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Now we have the last speaker from US, Mr. Vijay Rajana. Vijay? Hello, Vijay?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Vijay, yeah. Vijay, welcome. Just
Okay,
before
okay.
Starting, just let me introduce your profile briefly. Yeah, one second. Yeah. Today's speaker is present is Dr. Vijay Rajana, Principal Research Engineer, Sansil, Sunnyvale, California. Actually, today's topic is delivering a talk on navigating the future, the trends and innovations in human-computer interaction, HSC. So this presentation offers insight into recent developments in the field of human-computer interaction, including exploration of emerging trends and innovations enabled by generative AI. Dr. Vijay, it's honor to have on the board, and on behalf of all the stakeholders and all the participants here, I welcome you, and also we're proud to be your teacher on this occasion. Yeah, welcome, Vijay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rajat, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. Okay, I think we can get started. So I will share my screen first.
Yeah, slide to share, Vijay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm about to share the screen.
Yeah, you can, you can.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Vijay, it's visible. You can continue.
Okay. So yeah, I think the slides are visible now.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
start it. So yeah, welcome to today's topic, navigating the future, trends and innovations in human-computer interaction. I'll just move the slide deck a little bit here. Okay. So a little background about myself. So I'm a human-computer interaction researcher who specializes in touch tracking, force sensing, and haptics-related technology. And I currently work as a principal research engineer at Sunsil, California. We make the world's most advanced touch tracking, force sensing, and haptics technology, which is bundled into a module called haptic touchpads, which is shipped on most of the modern computers these days, and graduated with a doctorate in computer science from Texas A&M, and my core area of research was eye tracking. Okay, so basically, like, what exactly is human-computer interaction? I understand that probably we might be running a little late, so I'll try to go a bit fast in some of the slides, but if you do have any questions in between, please feel free to ask me. So basically, HCI, if you take a standard Wikipedia definition, it's like the design and use of computer technology to enable interfaces between people and computers. That is like a standard definition of HCI. But if you take like more academic definition of HCI, then it is basically like design, implementation, as well as evaluation of computer interfaces. And if you look at human-computer interaction from a human-centered perspective, it indicates that it's the design of computer systems around human needs. Like, how do you design computer systems taking into consideration what the user wants to achieve, like what are the tasks of the user, and how such technologies can augment the abilities of an end user. So, sorry. Okay, so what are the application areas of human-computer interactions? As you can see, like human-computer interaction is a multidisciplinary field where it spans across the fields of sensing and haptics, sketch recognition, eye tracking, which is basically interacting with the computers using your eye movements, intelligent user interfaces. That is where human-computer interaction kind of merges with AI, more like the modern innovations enabled by generative AI. So that's where like intelligent user interfaces come into picture, and mobile HCI, so which is HCI applied to mobile devices. It could be your smartwatches or standard mobile phones or anything that that's sort of like handheld and uh, uh, available technology that's made available everywhere. That's also somewhat similar to what pervasive and ubiquitous computing is, which is saying technology made available anytime, anywhere on any device. Virtual reality, interactive surfaces, multimodal interaction. So as you can see, like HCI is quite multidisciplinary in nature, and it spans across various uh, application areas. But in today's talk, so I primarily wanted to focus the on the three key topics: sensing and haptics, sketch recognition, and eye tracking. So my goal for this talk is basically to explain the core research topics, the core research ideas in these respective fields, and how such research ideas evolve into products that end users are benefited with. So let's get started with that. So uh, primarily now focusing on sensing and haptics, right? So touch input. What exactly is touch input? We all have used touch input on mobile phones and tablets. But what exactly is happening when you perform a touch on on a mobile phone or a tablet? So it's the change in the capacitance on the surface area of a touch sensitive surface that is being measured, and then the firmware can locate where exactly on the touch screen the user is interacting. So it uses that information to enable interactions with the user interfaces. But what are the issues of the existing touch technologies, right? So environmental factors, like if your fingers are wet, moisture, and if it's too cold temperature, you won't be able to precisely and accurately point and click on the interactive surfaces. And limited to conductive objects, like in very cold countries, like if you're wearing glove and if you're trying to interact with the touch enabled device, it may not work because it's not conductive enough. The glove is not conductive enough. And false touches, of course. Sometimes there are like palm rejection related issues and accidental inputs detected on these large touch surfaces. So these are all the issues with the conventional touch technology that we use pretty much every day now. So what exactly are we doing? So here at Stencil, what we did is we developed an innovative technology, which is mostly sort of force-based, pressure-based touch sensing, and that enables you to track the touches even under various environmental conditions, and the object doesn't have to be a conductive material, and it can handle false touches better. As you can see here, so this is a large touch tracking surface, and just by placing a point of contact on the surface, user is able to interact with that surface. So what is possible with such a technology, right? So you can work on a touch surface in a wet conditions. Like you can have an interactive surface under water, or even if it's a lot of moisture, you can interact in such situations. And also you can start sensing under different materials. It doesn't have to be like a conductive material, right? So it can be like a leather, or it can be like wood. Any sort of material you are able to interact with, that's made possible by this high resolution pressure sensitive touch sensing surface. So here are some of the application areas. So this is where things get interesting. So when you have a much larger touch tracking surface like this, that can sense the pressure applied on the surface and then translate that into input. So you have one large interactive surface, and then you can use various overlays. So you can just have one device like this, and then you can convert that into a keyboard. You can convert that into a music playing instrument. You can convert that into a piano. So anything is possible, and these are these innovations are enabled by the ability to track the touches, um, irrespective of the point of contact is being conductive or not. So if we go one step further, what happens, right? So if you combine this such a touch tracking technology that performs both touch tracking as well as force sensing. So touch tracking is basically where you're touching on the surface. Force sensing is how much force you're applying on the surface. And then you combine that with the haptic feedback, which is basically providing feedback to the user that when uh, pressure applied on the surface crosses a certain limit, it triggers a feedback to the user, which is called haptic feedback, which is like sort of the vibro-tactile feedback. Then you indicate that if the user wanted to click on a certain location on the touch interactive surface, that is achieved when the pressure exerted is beyond the thresholds that the device is looking for. So Sensel has been building such technologies, such haptic touchpads, which are currently integrated into laptops by companies such as Lenovo, Dell, and sort of haptics technology with Microsoft Surface Studio as well. So I'll give you an example here. So as of today, most of the computers use this traditional click pads, right? So uh, basically, you can only click at the bottom space, like bottom 40 to 50% of the area. As you go higher up, you are unable to click there. That's because this uses sort of a technology called diving board. It's like a standard like mechanical switch. So that has a limitation. You cannot click as you move higher up. And also you are unable to customize how much force that you need to exert, and basically your interaction abilities are limited. So compare that to haptic touchpad, which allows you a larger interaction surface because you can create these virtual buttons anywhere on the touchpad that you want. And you can click anywhere here. That is because since the touchpad is sensing force, it can recognize the force being applied and then trigger a click whenever the force crosses the threshold. So your click force becomes adjustable, and you can also create like sort of special interaction zones, like you click at the top right corner, it performs scrolling gesture. You click at bottom right corner, it minimizes all the windows on the screen, things like that. So these are all the innovations or the improved user experience enabled by the haptic touchpads, which combines both touch tracking, force sensing, and haptics technology. You can go one step forward and then build something as uh, uh, as nice as completely seamless surfaces, right? So you don't even have the touch tracking area visible. So these are all called like seamless design, where the touchpad is sort of hidden under this one piece of glass, and the user it's a much larger touch tracking area, and the user is able to interact anywhere here. So again, since there are no moving mechanical parts, um, the haptic touchpad enables a great user experience in this case. So again, these are all the innovations enabled by haptic touchpads. You can go again one step forward and then make these automotive surfaces interactive. So right now, like we are used to use like the physical switches or buttons on the dashboards of the cars, but you can replace that with these smart surfaces where just based on the pressure being applied, you can trigger the desired action that the user wanted to achieve. So that's more about haptics and touch tracking and force sensing. So next, I want to provide a brief overview of sketch recognition. This is another area that I was involved in, and explain like how sketch recognition can benefit the people in academia, specifically when it comes to teaching and automating and grading the assignments from students. So basically, what exactly is sketch recognition? Sketch recognition is like automated understanding of hand-drawn diagrams. It's basically first recognizing what the user has drawn and then beautification of what the user has already drawn. So it captures both the spatial information as well as the temporal information. So there is a lot of research gone into this field as well, which basically starts with combine trying to understand the basic primitives. Say, for example, like in this interface, user has drawn multiple lines, and then there's a helix here. So if you can first recognize these individual lines and then the helix, you can start recognizing much more complex shapes, as you can see here. And that complex shape could mean anything. So I'll give you an example of that. So again, you can have sort of a unistroke recognizers. Basically, these are all like the gesture recognizers, right? So you have gaming interfaces or user interfaces where you can draw some gesture on the surface, and system recognizes it, and then it can trigger a respective action. So you can sort of use like template matching algorithms. So you have predefined shapes where you can compare that against what the user has drawn, and then recognize what the user actually meant. If it's a triangle, rectangle, and those can be mapped back to a specific action. And you can go much more sophisticated, building into much more sophisticated gesture recognizers, where for each gesture you can define like these mathematical features, and then whenever the user draws these gestures, you can compute these features, and then trying to recognize what the user really meant. Say, for example, if the user has drawn this gesture on a browser or something, so it can be a back. So when I say drawing gesture, it could be drawing with the stylus or drawing with the mouse on the screen. So page reload and copy. So all these interactions are enabled by first recognizing what the user intends to convey, like the command, and then performing that action. So I will give an example of how it's being used currently in some of the universities here in the US. So this is work by my professor, uh, uh, Dr. Tracy Hammond. So what really happens here is this is a system mechanics built for students in mechanical engineering. So where students draw these planar truss diagrams, and then they're required to compute the forces at these joints. So what users do, students do, is they, given the question something like this, students draw these diagrams and then draw the forces and then the directions and everything. And then system recognizes all these components of this diagram, and then automatically evaluates if the student has drawn the diagrams correctly or not. And you can also have much more fun experience with sketch recognition, where like in arts class and teaching sketching, so you try to like practice basic primitives of sketching, like circles drawing, line drawing, and you can sort of perform gamification of that, where like there is an island here, there's an island here, the user wants to move from here to here. So how do you connect that by drawing a line? So instead of drawing it on a sheet of paper, you can sort of digitize this and make it as a more fun experience. So again, going back, so sketch recognition, you first understand what the user has drawn and then beautify it and then attach meaning to it. And it enables some of the interactive applications as we see here. So that's a just quick overview of sketch recognition technology. And lastly, I want to touch upon the eye tracking technology. So this was my area of research, specifically focusing on how we can use this eye movement to interact on a computer. So basically, what exactly is eye tracking? Uh, so we have been used to interacting with the computer using the standard mouse and keyboard, and that has been the default for many years. That is really that really works in most cases, but there are some use cases where such a technology has limitations. Say a surgeon performing an operation, if they while they perform these operations, if they want to look at like high resolution images of the patient's body scan, some things like that. So they are unable to interact with any of the computing devices. Either they need to use gestures or they need some way to interact with these computer interfaces because they are wearing gloves and they are sterile and they are unable to touch anything, right? So uh, in these use cases, you are unable to uh, use your standard mouse and keyboard. So this is what we call as situational impairments and disabilities. And also other examples, like you are driving and there is a dashboard with a lot of controls on it. You're again unable to reach and interact with these controls. And if you're wearing glove and also again, it comes back to our original issue of not being able to perform touch tracking if you're wearing gloves and everything. So again, these are all called situational impairments where you cannot use conventional mouse and keyboard. Uh, and on the other hand, we have users with physical impairments and disabilities. So these are the users who have some disability, which because of which they are unable to use their hands, or probably in some scenarios, hands itself not available, right? So in such scenarios, again, mouse and keyboard is not something that users can use to interact with the computer. So these are all the limitations that can be addressed by gaze-assisted interaction. It's very straightforward. When you look on the computer or any interactive surface, the eye tracking technology takes that information and where you're looking on the screen and translate those coordinates and gives it back to the system. Say, for example, if you're looking at like top right corner, it provides some information about, okay, you are looking at pixel location this and this, X, comma, Y, and provides that to host system. The host system can use it to enable further interactions, right? So here is an example. So where you can combine eye tracking, so where the user is looking on the screen with a wearable device that can be controlled with the foot or any part of the user's body that user has control with, and then trigger a click action wherever the user wanted to perform. So here is an example. As you can see, a user just sitting in front of the computer, just looking on the different UI controls on the screen, and then performing interactions at those locations by performing clicks with the foot. Um, Such an interaction is enabled by this eye tracking technology here. Or you can also develop, this is sort of the more basic interaction methods, or you can take advantage of the fact that with eye tracking, it's very hard to sort of track users' movement of the eyes just by looking at it, right? Only system can recognize that. So you can use that information to perform sort of the authentication. Assume that you have a screen where you have a lot of these shapes moving randomly, and then eye tracking can look at the user's eye and then track where exactly the user is looking on the screen and use that information to authenticate the user. So such a method would be much more secure than entering the password because like nobody can look over your shoulder to recognize what password that you have used. So for example, in this use case, assume that the user follows sort of three transitions of the objects on the screen and had selected specific shapes as their password. And say, for example, on the say square star pi is the password. So on the first frame, the user follows where the square moves. On the next frame, where the user follows the star, and on the third frame, the user follows the pi. So such an information can be accurately calculated by the system, which are all the shapes that the user is looking at, and then user can authenticate the user. System can authenticate the user or deny access if the correct shapes are not followed. So it's completely touchless authentication, where even we don't even have to save any biometric information with the system. So users just have to remember certain shapes similar to they remember their passwords, but there is no physical entering of the password, but just looking at the shape that are in transition on the screen, user is able to authenticate. Similarly, you can develop much more advanced interfaces where users can design various gestures on the computer. Say, for example, user looks on the top left corner and then draws this gesture, and then associates that with the minimize gesture. So for example, minimize, maximize, refresh, moving forward, back, scrolling. So these types of gestures the user can design and associate specific actions to that. So once that is done, while you're working on the computer, even without performing any, like you, without physically going and then minimizing the screen, maximizing or anything, so you can still have your keyboard's hands on the keyboard and perform these gestures with your eyes so that you are interacting much more efficiently on the computer. So again, these are all the interactions enabled by eye tracking, there are much more interesting applications of eye tracking, specifically for rich interactions as well as users with physical impairments and disabilities. I won't take much time. I'll sort of try to conclude. So far we have looked at the basics of human-computer interaction and went specifically into understanding touch sensing, force-based touch sensing, haptics, um, and then we looked into sketch recognition, some of the applications of sketch recognition, and finally eye tracking and some of the applications of eye tracking. As you can see, like HCI is multidisciplinary field, and the future innovations in HCI is driven by generative AI, machine learning, and all these large language models that enable new and interesting interactions with the computer, and and technology is becoming more and more ubiquitous, where you have um, computing capabilities available anywhere, anytime, and on any device. So you can actually refer to the StickEye website, which specifically focuses on human-computer interaction related conferences and all the latest innovation in that space. Um, so yeah, with that, thanks for the opportunity. I know this time was much shorter, but my goal was to provide an overview of the recent trends in human-computer interaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay, for a wonderful informative talk. Any question from audience? Any questions? Please raise your hands virtually. Yeah, Vijay, I think they don't have any questions. Vijay, thank you very much for a wonderful informative session. And thank you very much for joining us from California. I think it's early morning there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks.
Thank you very much for obliging my request and joining and sharing your knowledge with all my colleagues. On behalf of Higher Education Department, Collegiate and Technical Education, all our officers and principals, professors, and also the teaching staff, I wholeheartedly thank you for this wonderful session. I think in future, still we can have more interactions on this area.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. And I thank all the participants who have joined this session and staying till the end of the session once again. So thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you. Yeah.